Here's what a table group did in a school, in a high school, where they were trying to think about persistence and saying, what are some strategies that I use? Now, notice again, all of these strategies, this particular teacher keeps them posted for students. It's something that they keep adding to. As you can see, it would be very easy to do this dynamically with some web-based opportunity to do diagramming like this. But the idea here is, when I'm stuck, what do I do? What strategies do I have? So that's very significant because it begins to ask students to draw on their own experience, to not think about this idea as something external to them. And every person has had a time that they can remember when they really persisted, and then what helped them to get through it when it was so challenging and they were stuck. So we begin to now see that this idea of self-management is really, really important for students, and it's not foreign. In fact, we want to think of this as progressively learner-driven. We want students to begin to think about, when do I need to persist? What is it that I need to do? And that's not just true for persisting. I just use that as one example. But what we're suggesting is, for example, if I were to say in my class next week, I want you to be able to be thinking flexibly. This is something where you have math problem solving, and probably there are two things you're going to need to do. You're going to need to be managing your impulsivity. Don't jump to come to a conclusion as to what you need to do without making sure you understand the problem. And at the same time, you're going to need to be thinking flexibly. If one alternative doesn't work, try another. So in that instance, it's teacher generated. I'm telling you which habits will be most useful to you, and I'm explaining to you why I think they're most important in this particular situation. On the other hand, it may be that it's teacher and learner co-created, meaning I say to the students, remember when we did a really tough math problem the other day? What were some of the habits that were most helpful to you? And how might you begin to use them to remind yourself of how to stick with it today? Now we're co-creating the possibility as to which of these will be most helpful to you. And we're all kind of generating perhaps different ones, and then learner generated. Which one of these do I feel I most need to use today in my lesson? It may be that I'm emotionally upset today. So what will be most helpful to me? Which of the habits of mine are personally most helpful? So notice this shift here basically suggests that we can move along here and we can become more learner-driven, less learner-driven. We move along, and as we do, this begins to tell us a story of moving from teacher-generated, I always need to be reminded, to learner-generated. I do this because it's indeed beginning to be a habit of mind. The next thing that I wanted us to think about is opportunities to practice self-direction. So now that we've established the habits of mind in our classrooms, and we're beginning to understand how they really are the kinds of dispositions we're looking for with our students, let's now just look and see, where are the opportunities to practice self-direction? So I'm suggesting 3 that I know we do quite frequently. When you're learning a new skill, it's a great opportunity to practice self-management, self-direction, because we know when we have a class of perhaps 25 to 30 students, everybody is going to be at a different pace. Everybody is going to have different needs. And so this is a time when I need to be an advocate for myself. I need to say how I'm going to learn the skill, what kind of time I think I need, what kind of help I think I need, and how this is really going to help me to be more managing of what it is I need to learn. And it's because I want to get into the practice. I want to start to play the game. So if I'm learning this skill, and it may be not a single skill, but it may be a number of skills, I want to get to the place where I want to write the story, because you asked, can I create something that's fictional and interesting and imaginative? So I want to move from managing, knowing how to actually do the work, to practicing and seeing, how do I apply it? Where can I apply it? And then finally, I may do a project where I'm actually now saying, I'm going to not only write this, but it's a script. And I want it to be a script for a play that I want to actually do a film on. I'm playing with you, but you see what I'm saying is, when we're asking students to be self-managing and self-directed, we want to move them along knowing that there's a distinction between when I do something well, when I'm developing a skill, when I'm needing to have more support, and when I'm practicing and applying it, and finally, when I'm then demonstrating that I actually have some better level of success with it.